Gabrielle tell us more about Wash Day while you wait for your auntie?
Yeah. What happens on Wash Day?
Well, first, my auntie gets everything set up in the kitchen. Next, my auntie combs out my hair, which can take a little time. Next, she puts nice warm water on it. Then she puts shampoo in my hair and sings our Wash Day song.
Washing your hair shows that I care. It's a special day for me and you.
I don't know why I should keep it together when my plant has just grown. A mini chili pepper. Tiny and spicy. Fiery and fresh. Just a proud plant papa who's doing his best. Agricultural awesomeness in my own home. Love, care, hydration. It's how we all grow.
What is your gender? My gender. I'm a mechanic.
Like how we're all connected to the pyramids and how we used to use them for time travel.
This is my problem with TikTok spirituality types. Like, it is all fun and games up until the point you start repeating white supremacist conspiracy theories. The guy who came up with the idea that the pyramids were interstellar spaceships that just landed in Egypt or whatever was a white supremacist. He wanted to take the most outlandish possible explanation that took the achievement of building the pyramids away from the Egyptian people. And Egypt is still around. There's still people in that culture who identify with those cultural monuments, who can tell you about the history of it. And taking that privilege away from them as a white person living in America is so vapid. It's really lame.
What's really pissing me off with the queer community is that all of a sudden we have so many fucking rules about what it means to be queer. Y'all are saying a trans girl needs to look like this, a non-binary person needs to look like this. And you know what's really pissing me off, y'all? Is why can't we at the very least, present a united front? We have the straights literally watching us devalue each other, and that's just giving them ammo where ammo isn't due. You know what I mean? Why can't we at least just respect each other on the surface? Who gives a fuck about what you think about someone, but now you have to be so vocally hypocritical about someone? What happened to us? What happened to us?
Receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, everything.
What do you think is the largest form of theft in the United States?
Probably identity.
Financial.
Merchandise theft.
Corporate.
Or taxes.
Tax evasion.
Yeah, I would say robbery. Fraud.
I'm gonna say car theft.
Car theft.
So what if I told you it was wage theft?
Wage theft. Employers not paying their workers.
So it can look like a lot of things, like maybe you work overtime and so they're not paying you time and a half. They have you come 30 minutes early, but they don't pay you for the 30 minutes early, that kind of thing. It's about $50 billion annually that employers steal from workers.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Isn't it a lot of money?
Lot.
In 2019, it was estimated that the total cost of all robberies in the United States was $482 million. So the total cost of wage theft is about 100 times that.
Definitely sounds like a problem.
Especially undocumented people or people that have records or, people that are blackballed, that's terrible.
We're librarians. Of course we think audiobooks and graphic novels are real books.
I'm Hannah. You should never, ever pay for access to a scholarly article. Even if that article is locked behind something like a paywall, libraries can always help you access that information for free.
We're librarians. Of course I have a favorite citation style.
I'm Hannah. So paywalls block access to things like scholarly articles by requiring you to pay for that access to them. You can also think about it like when you get pop-ups blocking you from accessing newspaper articles or online, or when you have to pay for a Netflix or Hulu subscription. Libraries pay for databases so that you can search for and access scholarly articles and other content for free.
Am I still not getting it? I thought I had the format right this time.
No, you're right. I think I just got too excited about this, the paywalls and stuff. Okay, maybe we should try.
We're librarians. Of course my home library is organized by subject area.
I'm Hannah. Of course, libraries can't pay for access to every single database out there, so there's also something called interlibrary loan, where libraries across the country and even the world can send each other scans of articles and even book chapters. That's actually really helpful if you don't need the entire book and want to wait for the whole book to come in the mail to you. You can request a chapter scan, and you can go on to Google Books Preview or Amazon Preview to get a look at the table of contents to see what kind of chapter.
Okay, I think now something's up.
Hello, Sharks. I'm here asking for my doctors to wear this during a medical appointment with me. I will give it to them for free, in order for a 100% share in neither of us getting fucking sick. I understand it was too much to ask. Thank you.
There's no place like... I want to be a witch!
You take the moon and you take the sun.
You take everything that seems like fun. You start up and then you're done.
Rada, 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 rada.
So come on in, feel free to do some looking.
I used to date somebody that always tried to make me jealous, but I was too thick to recognize what they were trying to do. Like, for instance, this one time we went out to this bar and I hadn't been paying them enough attention, hadn't been as considerate as I should have been. And so they decided to make me jealous by finding the toughest looking guy in the bar, shaved head, really big prison tattoos, you know, these sorts of things. And eventually I recognized, like, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. So I go up to him and I'm like, hi, I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah, hi, my name is Chris. My friends called me Crazy Chris because I went to prison. And I was so dumb, my response was, Chris, how would you feel about getting your civil rights restored? In talking to him, I realized that he felt really guilty for the things that caused him to go to prison. And I'm like, you have a great argument to get your rights restored. He didn't know anything about the restitution of civil rights. So for the rest of the night, I talked about how we could get many of the rights that he lost after he went to prison restored. And a couple years later, we were able to do it after he paid all his restitution and everything. Yeah, if you're gonna make somebody jealous, make sure you're precise, because sometimes we're too dumb to recognize it.
I don't want to lose you, girl.
I'm not a girl.
You're the smartest girl in the world.
I'm not a girl.
But girl.
Not a girl.
And I think I love you too, girl.
I'm not a girl.
Hi everybody! Today we're talking about unmasking and masking autism as privileges. Before I get started, I note that these are my own opinions, and while I try my best to amplify other marginalized voices on the autism spectrum, we are not a monolith, and I of course do not speak for everyone. Firstly, can unmasking be a privilege? Absolutely. For many autistic folks who are in dangerous situations where disclosing their disability could endanger them, unmasking could potentially lead to harassment, abuse, and adding in the big components of racism, police brutality, adultification bias. Quite literally, unmasking can be a life or death situation for Black and brown autistic people. Now, to put this in perspective of the greater autism spectrum, I would generally say that unmasking is a low to medium support needs autistic issue. Many medium to high support needs autistic folks cannot mask their autism because their support needs can't be hidden. It's pretty hard to mask your autism when you're non-speaking and even with accommodations are still unable to complete most daily tasks. So from the perspective of high support need autistics, I also believe that being able to mask in any capacity can be a privilege on its own. And while the emotional and physical burden of masking is high and an important issue that, in my opinion, gets talked about a lot, we also have to talk about what it means to always have your autism on display and enable a society to use against you. Because I was able to mask quite well, my autism wasn't discovered when I was a child, which could be seen as a miss, and it is, but arguably may have worked in my favor. Because 20 years ago, an autism diagnosis in a public school meant that I would have been in special ed classes, received 0 accommodations, and most likely been in ABA therapy to fix my issues, now which we all know aren't so great. And while I did get teased a bit for being odd growing up, it's not nearly as heartbreaking as some of the experiences I've heard of both being personally and publicly harassed, abused, and discriminated against for being openly autistic in school, work, and even in your own home. And even as an adult, I deal with ableism firsthand much less because most people don't perceive me as autistic. And while that can be frustrating and rooted in ableism, it also means that I avoid a lot of harassment that medium and high support need autistic folks cannot. And that isn't to say I don't feel the effects of societal ableism, but it's different. A comparison that comes to mind is also being a mixed Asian and white person. Because I can be perceived white at times, that allows me to avoid a lot of public harassment that non-white passing people of color can't. But it doesn't mean I don't deal with any marginalization or the legacy of racism that comes with being Asian in this country. And no, autism isn't a direct one-to-one, but these topics are all intertwined through disability justice, and like race, autism doesn't look one way. It doesn't act one way. But we do know that when you look or act like someone expects of a marginalized identity, it opens you up for so much more harassment and bigotry. And the point of this whole convo isn't to say, oh, it's so much worse to be high support needs, because it is not inherently worse or better to be on any part of the spectrum. But it's to say our experiences with autism and ableism may be different based on them, and that we can't keep ignoring discussions that undoubtedly center medium and high support need autistic folks. And if I'm sure of anything, it's that these topics will always benefit from having more voices entering the conversation, that these topics require nuance, and that there's no definitive answers. So, what do y'all think?
How deeply is capitalist propaganda in your psyche? Let's do a little test to, gauge it a little bit. I'm going to make 20 statements, and for every statement that I say, if you believe said statement, I want you to give yourself a point, and if you don't believe the statement, don't give yourself a point. All right, statement 1. Poor people choose to be poor. 2. Rich people got rich through hard work. 3. Rich people are rich because they are smarter than poor people. 4. Poor people are poor because they're lazy. 5, poverty wages are okay if it's a low-skilled job. 6, it is okay minimum wage jobs don't meet people's basic needs, as minimum wage jobs are for starter jobs anyway, or for teens. 7, communism is bad and dangerous. 8, communism has killed more people than capitalism has. 9, socialism means you will own nothing. 10, capitalism means a free market economy. 11, socialism means businesses won't exist. 12, socialism means dictatorship or an authoritarian regime of some sort. 13, anyone who supports capitalism is a capitalist. 14, liberals are left-wing. 15, the Democratic Party is a left-wing party. 16, being a landlord is an honest line of work as landlords provide a service, or that you believe a landlord is at work at all. 17, owners deserve more of the profit than laborers because they create the jobs. 18, owners deserve more of a profit than laborers because they took a risk. 19, capitalism breeds innovation. And then 20, America overall has been a net positive on the planet. So count up all your points. And I'd say if you got more than 10, it's pretty deep in there.
Wait, you're trans? I never would have guessed.
Huh, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, you passed so well. Like, you look like a real woman.
Well, I am very real, so.
My pronouns are rosé all day. Why do you look better in that dress than I would?
Because I'm hotter than you.
Slay queen, yes! Literally work. Do you watch Drag Race?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Of course you do. Like, duh, dumb question. Is it? I had a cashier once who was trans, so I totally get it. So when did you realize you were in the wrong body? Oh, well, I came out about 4 years ago, but... Ah! Welcome to womanhood, girly. Thank you. God, you are so brave. As a biological woman, I totally support the whole trans thing. Awesome. I just can't get behind trans women in sports, but you totally get it. Oh, I get it? Oh, I knew you were one of the good ones. Huh. So did you get the surgery? What surgery? The surgery. Are you asking me about my genitals? No! Oh my god, no! Oh, you transgenders are just so sensitive. Okay, I am a trans person.